Welcome back to another episode of The Science of CBD. I'm your host, Antoine Schneider. Today I'm joined again by a very special guest, Dr. Junella Chin. For over a decade, Dr. Chin has practiced medicine in California, a state with legalized medical cannabis since 1996. In California, their integrative practice focused on children with cancer, epilepsy, autism, and she's seen firsthand really how much medical cannabis and CBD can benefit patients. Today, Dr. Chin practices in New York, where she treats both children and adults. She's dedicating her medical career to find effective, integrative, holistic approaches to patient care. She's a frequent keynote speaker on the science and medicine of cannabis and CBD and has spoken at hospitals, conferences, events all over the world. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, Doctor.
Thank you, Antoine.
So in the last episode of our podcast, we sat down with Dr. Chin to share her personal story. So if you haven't already seen that, make sure you go ahead and definitely check that out. On this podcast, we wanted to help share some of your patient stories. So first of all, here's some of the things that your patients are saying about you. Danny from Brooklyn said, after living with Crohn's for 13 years, I hardly left my house and frankly, didn't even want to eat anymore. Pain medications did not work. My doctors kept giving me steroids. But with medical marijuana treatment and nutritional guidance, I can sleep through the night and feel comfortable to meet my friends at a restaurant. Another one was Janet from Mount Kisco. My father had lung cancer that spread to his bones. Dr. Chin helped him with care, allowing the last couple months of his life to be as comfortable as possible. I highly recommend her. Dr. Chin, this must be pretty gratifying for you to help people when and where they need it the most. So for you, what can you tell us about your experience with working with some of these patients?
Yes, working with some of these patients is a team approach. So I do work with their other physicians, their specialists, so that we are integrating medical cannabis or CBD safely with their current medications and their current treatment.
Right. So are there any particular stories that stand out to you with some of these patients?
One of the most significant stories that stands out the most is a boy named Aiden. Now, Aiden, since he was an infant, he had a seizure disorder, intractable seizures, which means Aiden's parents and Aiden have tried all medications, dozens of medications, dozens of treatments, and nothing seems to work. And he would seize easily 100 times a day. And when I saw Aiden, I remember he came in with a helmet because his parents said, I don't know when he's going to drop to the floor and seize. So he would have bruises behind his neck and on his head, and they would keep him in a sort of padded room, a safe room, because that was his playroom, because you just never knew when Aiden would fall to the ground. And she wanted to try CBD. She wanted to try CBD because she read about the different benefits of CBD online. She had spoken about it with Aiden's neurologist, and he okayed it. And we started using CBD. And amazingly enough, it didn't happen right away. I mean, this happened over the course of many, many months of trying to see which dosage worked for Aiden. And Aiden does combine the CBD with anti-seizure medication. So it's not CBD by itself. But his seizures reduced to about 2 to 3 a month, wow, which is significant. So he's now in public school. He goes to physical therapy. He goes to occupational therapy. So he's able to speak. He's able to read. He does homework. So it's really a quality of life-changing thing.
You know, you speak about these stories, and it almost seems like second nature to help these patients for you. So my question to you is, what is next? What's the missing link in all of this? What are you currently working on? Do you think can really take it to the next step?
I think more clinical trials would be wonderful. If there were more clinical trials, more physicians can adopt it and feel comfortable with adopting it. I think the prevention in nutraceuticals, in the nutraceutical industry, if you're looking at health and prevention and using CBD as a preventative as an anti-inflammatory for arthritic conditions, maybe anxiety or stress, that has a whole a field that has not been explored enough.
I feel that the clinical studies is really a missing link in the CBD research, especially because, you know, this is really just a more recent discovery since Raphael Mechoulam discovered anandamide, and in 1992, I believe. So really, to get the traction that we need to get consumers really on the train, so to speak, and everybody at least on the caboose, right?
Right.
is to have all these clinical studies so that doctors can really start to educate themselves more than patients, because patients will listen to what their doctors say, I believe. And I think that missing link is really to get that hard and knowledgeable and scientific information through clinical studies, so we can get that missing link and really educate everyone.
Yes, exactly right. I mean, we're missing the clinical studies, but also there are, papers that talk about the mechanism behind there's the cannabis and CBD and CB1 receptors, CB2 receptors, and that's plentiful if you look at the journal articles.
Well, Dr. Chin, thank you so much for joining us again on the Science of CBD. If you learned something or just enjoyed the video, make sure you hit like and subscribe. For more information on CBD or other phytocannabinoids, be sure to sign up for our newsletter or visit www.twinlabscbd.com. Also, be sure to check out Dr. Chin's educational platform, medicalcannabismentor.com. It's currently being used in dispensaries, medical schools, hospitals in the US, Canada, and Europe. And she's coming out with a book this June through Penguin Random House, and it's titled Cannabis and CBD for Health and Wellness. Well, once again, I'm your host, Antoine Schneider. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
My pleasure. Thank you.